thing I'm looking at. Don't look at that. Just look at that, and look at him. Look at his beautiful face. Okay. Uh-oh, you're frozen. That's the start of this. We get frozen. Hey guys, I got a special treat today. It's Samurai Kibiji here, and I have a YouTube collab that, this is actually first time for me, Skype interview. We got Noir Lilbomber. It's L-I-L, so. And
yeah.
If I look off screen, like I got this camera here and my Skype cam, and you guys are gonna comment, I know, a better way to do this, but setup here, if I'm looking off this camera, that's why. But we got Noir here.
Like you said, I'm Noir Lilbomber. I'm a fellow YouTuber. I do CinemaSins parodies as well as Kingdom Hearts videos. And I actually have my next CinemaSins parody coming up soon, so look forward to that.
If you go to, for me personally, dude, I go to your channel, I see nothing but like Kingdom Hearts videos.
Yeah.
So that's perfect. With the D23 things that came out a couple weeks ago, we got a crap ton of news, and one of the pieces of news was that there's gonna be less Disney worlds than Kingdom Hearts 2. And I thought a neat subject here today would be, if there is up to 10 worlds, we're gonna make that 10th one a little bonus one, but just safekeeping 9, what would be our top 5 worlds that haven't been announced yet that we would want in the game? And then the 10th one will be kind of that bonus world if it can make it in, great. Noir, how about you start? What's your first world and why?
Okay, well, the first one that I definitely want to say that someone actually said on a video of mine that they really agreed with me with was Epic Mickey. I actually said that in a video I uploaded before D23, but I was talking about what was possibly going to be the new world, because it wasn't the worlds that I wanted, but Epic Mickey was one of the worlds I wanted, and just because I loved Epic Mickey, like I love that game, and like the seriousness, even though it is a Disney game, and there's nothing wrong with having Epic Mickey in there, especially with like forgotten characters like Oswald. Maybe he was like the banished prince of Disney Castle, and he has a grudge against his half brother Mickey.
I didn't think about that. That was a good one. The first one I'll say is I want at least one more returning world, because so far we got Olympus, but I want at least one more returning, but it's completely new map redesign and stuff. I want Aladdin to come back. I want Agrabah to come back. I feel that there's more they could do with the story. I know that there is, I guess, another Aladdin movie that they haven't covered, but to me it seems like all of them are having original stories, which is awesome if they're doing that, me personally. But I would love to actually explore Agrabah, because I feel like we've not gotten to really go around the city, but more like just cruise its streets. And it seemed, the second game in particular was cool because we got to go out in the desert and there was a lot of stuff out there. But I feel like we need to see that in more updated graphics, and there could be one last story told after this one. We don't need to go to Agrabah again.
My next pick is also a returning world, Port Royal. Port Royal. I always liked the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, and I don't know. It just at the end of Kingdom Hearts 2, it made it seem like we're definitely gonna come back and see Jack Sparrow again. And you know, he always talked about getting the Keyblade at the end of the second visit, and who knows? I mean, he did touch Sora's Keyblade, so maybe that was an inheritance ceremony.
That would be hilarious.
Yes, it would.
I would be fine with pirates. I'm mainly in that whole boat where it's like Lilo and Stitch, Moana, and pirates. They all have a similar setting, so I'm like, okay, I have a feeling they're only going to include one of those if they did. Going on the roots of classics, so I had my returning world, classic world, that it just seems like there's a large outcry for this, is Treasure Planet, because Treasure Planet, like, there's such a large outcry for it, and you know, honestly, I don't even remember the movie that well. I believe I watched it at least one time. I don't believe twice, but it's like, I know generally what the setting consists of, and that'd be freaking cool. That'd be cool to just go around in space, especially, who knows, maybe the way they run into it is like the gummy ship. If they had Star Wars, they would have to incorporate the gummy ship in some way, but if Star Wars wasn't in it, you have to put Treasure Planet in it, because that would be the substitute, and it's completely Disney-like too, so it would match even more. and maybe you run into the ship similar to like the Neverland. The first time in Kingdom Hearts 1 we run to Neverland, you run to the ship. It could be something exactly like that for Treasure Planet.
Right.
And who knows, it could deal with a lot of, we've been to all these other worlds, how's it like out there, and just that sense of adventure. I think it could match the theme with the story too a bit.
I only saw Treasure Planet like once, and I think I played a little bit of the video game on PS2, but I remember nothing from the movie. But my next pick is Pride Lands, and that's because we still have another Lion King story to go over with Lion King 2 about Simba's daughter, and I don't know. I think it sort of fits in the theme of maybe saving someone from being corrupted by darkness, like Kovu, and with all the outcasted lions and everything being corrupted by darkness. And me personally, Lion King 2 was a movie that I watched almost every day as a kid. To this day, I can memorize the lines like the back of my hand, and I know like, okay, this scene's coming up next, this line's coming up next. I just know it.
Yeah, I got a friend that is with you on that. Like, he really wants Pride Lands. Actually, Titus, if you're watching this, that's a shout out to you. I'm gonna mainly comment off that once we get to the bonus world, but Pride Lands was like one of my favorite worlds in 2, but I'm like, if we don't go back to it, I'm okay. I like yours so far because they're way less stereotypical, whereas all mine are like super stereotypical. So I said my returning world, I said my classic world. Now we're kind of in the regular, new, updated stuff, and Frozen has to happen to me because that, the thing is that Frozen is my least favorite of all the Disney animations that have come out in recent years.
Really?
But it's like one of the most strong I need worlds in the game, mainly because I think it'd be a good world. That's the thing, as long as you don't make it Atlantica. But I just don't want singing to happen. But I think it'd be an awesome world because you got the palace, you got a frozen like snowy area, and all these like ice themed Heartless, and there would be some like big Frozen themed boss. Like, I just picture in the music, I picture the world being gorgeous. They could incorporate good story themes to it as well, like accepting who you are and controlling things and not giving into darkness, whatever, all the usual jazz. But
that's funny because Frozen almost made it onto my list.
But
it's funny how you said like I'm sort of staying away from stereotypical stuff, but this one, I don't know if it fits in that category, but Star Wars.
okay.
I am a huge Star Wars fan, and I wouldn't say start from episode like 4 or 5 or 6. I would say start at episode like 2 or 3, because that's when Anakin was really getting into the dark side of the Force and dark side, darkness. So maybe instead like one of the Xehanorts is like helping Emperor Palpatine achieve what he must because he's using darkness. I don't know. I would love to see like a lightsaber keyblade, or maybe like maybe that's where we learn glide. If it isn't a growth ability, maybe that's where we can learn glide. With the Force and everything. So yeah.
You might have seen it if you see my previous stuff, but like live action stuff, I'm like, if it's in it, okay.
Yeah.
But I'm not reaching for it. But I do admit, like, there's a lot of stuff about the Star Wars universe I would love. Treasure Planet was a sci-fi, but to me, it's just kind of like the gamer dream to have Wreck-It Ralph in. First off, just like Toy Story, they are teasing at Toy Story, there's other areas in the toy shop that are gonna have, like, mini games or other different kind of Heartless you can ride or whatever toys. I feel like Wreck-It Ralph could be that other world that's has its story in itself and it's explorable with Heartless and all that stuff, but it is also like the Winnie the Pooh world, where you have all these mini games in it. Sometimes they can actually make you stronger, and there's a lot of different, it's almost in itself a cheat because you have different kinds of worlds you can go into. I think it'd be cool, and I really want it. I really, really want it. That's probably the one I want most. Now, if it fits most, I'll give it to the other ones, but...
I haven't seen Wreck-It Ralph, but I've seen clips, and I've
What?
seen... I know.
What?
I know.
Oh, man. Okay.
But I haven't seen it, but I've seen so many clips, and it's like, this looks like an interesting movie, and I also thought like maybe like the racing that could be part of the mini game, like with Tron, how you get on the bikes.
Okay. Then what's your other one?
Neverland. Neverland, especially in Kingdom Hearts 1, I love the fact that I could fly.
Yeah, I do miss that.
I just felt like I had freedom. I felt like I had so much freedom in that world, and I was a little disappointed that it was just the Jolly Roger and Big Ben that we could visit. But I was glad that we could actually visit the actual Neverland place in Birth by Sleep.
Yeah.
But still couldn't fly. But if they put Neverland back in Kingdom Hearts 3, first of all, Peter Pan would definitely he would be a welcomed assist party member, and especially if we get like Terra, Van, and Aqua to come back. It's like, hey, all my friends are here.
Yeah.
And since Kingdom Hearts 3 would be like a big open world, you can just fly to the other side of Neverland in like no time at all if you can fly.
I think that would be pretty cool. I definitely craved a Neverland world until I got to Birth by Sleep, because the Neverland and Birth by Sleep, I loved that because you got to go everywhere except the ship. Last one from me, and it's funny, I was thinking about this because I'm like, okay, there has to be new ones, there has to be classic, there has to be a return. So I listed all those, and now that Toy Story's on the table, now that Toy Story's been introduced, if Pixar is on the table, I really, really, really want to see Monsters, Inc. Because...
Yes!
Dude,
yes.
Is that like the one we share? Maybe? No? Damn it.
I mean,
but
I would say we share, but I really wanted it.
I think it would fit the themes of Kingdom Hearts so well because, first off, doors. I mean, freaking doors everywhere.
Right.
It would be a good aesthetics world, so Donald, Sora, and Goofy turn into monsters, which would be really cool to see.
Yeah, I didn't think of it like that.
Somebody brought up the idea that you get to fight the invisible dude as like a boss at some point, and maybe it could be a really intricate boss fight that actually does involve doors like the movie did.
Oh, that would be tough.
Yeah, fear. Fear being, this would be a world that would introduce fear, because we had Halloween Town, but this one in particular, it's like fear creates darkness or whatever, and maybe that's what triggers certain things to happen in the story. Monsters, Inc. would theme it around it, you know? What you got?
Let's see.
Or did I sway you? Just kidding.
We discussed returning worlds. We discussed classic worlds. We also discussed possibly new worlds from new films, but also Princess and the Frog. You know, Sora, Donald, and Goofy turn into little creatures. Maybe Sora turns into a frog. Maybe Donald turns to some kind of insect. You know, since the main villain is all about voodoo stuff, and he's sort of like associated with like the devil. That can definitely lead to, you know, a darkness related theme.
Yeah, I'm just mainly questioning the combat in it.
If we can make a lion Sora fight Heartless with a keyblade in his mouth, we can fight Heartless as a frog.
So that's kind of like Noir's bonus world there, that Princess and the Frog. If you know, ideally speaking, if there was that 6th world and it does go to 10, and you know 9 was a safe number, but with 10, Princess and the Frog, my bonus one, also changing into animals and stuff. It's become a lot more less likely, but I really would love Zootopia. They announced Big Hero 6 is, you know, was one of the last worlds they chose, and that made everybody like, oh no, does that make things not possible anymore? But just hypothetically speaking, if it did manage to get in, which time-wise it could, just ignoring that one little piece of news, I would love it. This is a throwback to the Pride Lands comment. It would kind of be the new Pride Lands, and you transform. Maybe Sora is still that lion-like figure, or he's a predator of some kind, and people might fear him, and then he's like trying to prove to people, no, you don't have to be worried about me, or whatever. I'd be excited to explore Zootopia itself. And like, there's the city portion, there's the desert, there's the rainforest, there's this and that. There's like maybe 5 different areas. And in the movie, you briefly see them, but it would be nice to be able to explore them. And as like animals at that, maybe you even have like certain animal boosts where it's like, in this world, Sora can sprint because he's that, form or whatever. Or
That would be really interesting.
that's kind of our thoughts, guys. But I'm sure both of us would love to know, what do you think will be in the game, or what do you think will fit, or what do you want to fit? Just leave any thoughts down below. And Noir, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yep. And otherwise, I'll catch you later.